Oh shit, I better hit pause on my game. I don't want the OU game playing and me being distracted while I should be here talking NFL with you because let's face it, I have a little bit of a focus issue. What's up, new guy? I'm the Degenerate 75 even, and I am a DFS content creator. I'm fucking struggling with this OU game up here. I can barely focus. I'm here to help you get a little bit better at DFS because if you don't know, this shit be tough and you're doing so many things wrong that you don't even realize. If you're here for my picks and plays, well, I've got great news. There's tons of other shows that do that, but it ain't this fucking show. So you might want to leave now. But if you want to learn about how to get better and learn more about process, this might be the show for you. If you find you like the cut of my jib, I encourage you to come check out that schedule right there. I do this show every Saturday night at 7 o'clock, and I do my Monday night and Thursday night football streams Monday and Thursday at noon. That's Lord's time zone. That's Central New Guy. I also do golf and college football. You should check those out. And this Tuesday, as I do every Tuesday, me and Tambo will be breaking down the preview. This week it is on my station, so make sure you're there Tuesday at noon as we get a first look and get those juices flowing. Basically, everything I thought Tuesday has only been re-fortified by Saturday night, so I am fucking pumped for this slate tomorrow. Can't wait. Get over there and then go check out Ship It Nation because they do a real good work. Okay, if you haven't heard the Big Guy's Not a Poor, I got to give away some Millionaire Maker tickets that you will build with me. We will build them together, and I will split the profits with you 50-50. I will give one away from my people that liked over on Twitter, and for every 75 likes we get over here, I will give away another one. So make sure you're hitting that like button over there. Make sure you ask up to 2 questions. You ask more than 2, your ass is fucking booted, okay? Let's get to it. Contest selection, as always. We basically have the same contest every week at NFL, right? And so what I really want to tell you this week is, like, when it comes to finding good contests, the same rules always apply, right? You want 10% to be roughly first, second to be half of that, 10th to be 10% of first. All of those rules apply, right? But have you been trying what I've been telling you? Play in contests that have less than 2,000 people in them, right? Because there's going to be a guy tomorrow in the early games that scores like 29 points and he's going to be like at least 10% owned, and you're not going to have him in your player pool. You'll be like, man, I've already lost. It's my time to on the over. But you would be amazed in those smaller contests how you can survive one dickhead chalk donkey going off and still be able to put up a real lineup if your guys do well. Or you have that tight end. You play that punt tight end, he gets you 1.6 points. We've all been there, right? Well, in those small contests, you can still sometimes have a great sweat, even with a true asshole in your lineup. So I really encourage you to look at the size of the contest you're playing in. The only reason you're playing in big contests is because you're always just looking at first place of those contests. And let me just go ahead and tell you the end of the story. You're not going to fucking win it, so quit worrying about it and get in contests where you can sustain your money long enough, have a real sweat on many more Sundays, and enjoy the game and still win some money. That's where it's at, man. So I'm just going to, if you get tired of me saying it, well, I'm not going to, because that's the first place you're stepping on your dick, dude. Next thing I want to tell you is go get in my contest right now. It is a $5 3 max, a reduced rake, and a community builder. I really appreciate it. We filled this the first several weeks. You can see it's 500 spots, a nice flat payout structure, which is good because we should always be looking for flat payout structures. Get it, share it around with your friends. Let's get this bitch filled. There's nothing worse than 11:30 when I'm on Twitter being like, will you fill my tournament? Don't make me be that guy. Don't make me be that guy. I don't want to be that guy, okay? Okay. Sorry, it's football season. You're going to get all the Bob Stoops you can handle. Here's a shout out to our winners from last week. Oh, B. Mahler winning by 21 points. More like B. Mauling us. You know what I'm saying, B. Mahler? Let's go. Great lineup, dude. Mother, father. 263 points. How many times did you play some guys like the same guy like 4 times? That's incredible. King of the North. I know that guy. K-Dog and Guckman with 2 in the top 5. Very nice. So shout out to my winners. Hop in there again this week. I'll shout you out. And if you'll get first flying the flag, I might just give you a t-shirt because I got these badass t-shirts right here. The Showdown Hoedown, mother father. All right, if I'm going to have a show based around the process and not my stupid fucking picks, then I better do a process tip. And this week's process tip, because, you know, we love the tip around here. We also love dome. I think that needs to be on the record, is this. I want you to think about when you're stacking, right? I hope every week you start your process when you're building your player pool with your stacks. Okay, your stacks are like your quarterbacks and who you're going to pair them with, right? It's the most simplistic correlation we will ever have at fantasy football, and it is essential, right? When you get a wide receiver who's scoring a touchdown, it is so nice when your quarterback throws it to him, and you're basically getting 2 touchdowns out of that, right? And you're getting the yards, and you're getting the reception. It is those correlation of points that are essential. So hopefully you're always starting around your stacks, okay? And that, if you've watched this show for several weeks now, you know how I feel about stacks. I think they should be selective. I don't think you should be building 8 different stacks, because not only do you have to have 8 different quarterbacks, now you have to have 8 different combinations of their receivers. So for me, I'm a 1 to 2 stack a week kind of guy, okay? But let's take it a step further this week, and I want to tell you about this. When you pick your quarterbacks for your stack, every quarterback means that you should stack them differently, okay? And you got to look at the type of quarterback they are to justify it. There's many different levels to this. I think the most simple one is this. If you're going to stack somebody like a Jalen Hurts or an Anthony Richardson that have the ability to run for 2 touchdowns, rush for 60 yards, and get a lot of their points, get upwards of 50 to 60% of their points just with their legs, I think that often the best way to play those quarterbacks is with one guy. We call that a skinny stack, just a single solo stack with them, right? Because every time most people build stacks, they always say, well, I got to do it with 2. I got to do 2 wide receivers with them. Why? How often is Jalen Hurts ever going to get A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith there? He's not going to do it very often, right? And even if he does get him there, you've spent all your salary just on those 3 guys, okay? That's another thing you have to think about. How expensive is your quarterback, right? If you were stacking Josh Allen tomorrow, I think that it makes sense that you could stack him with just Diggs or just Davis. Or if you're going to stack him with Diggs and you want to give him a second guy, I think you need to be very aware that that second guy needs to be more of a punt option, a Nix, a Hardy, somebody like that can get there for cheap and allow you to save a little bit of money so you're not spending all your money on your stack. Now, when you're playing, the typical pocket passer like Tom Brady, I know he's retired, but when we played Tom Brady last year, I always double stacked him because the only way he was ever going to have a GPP winning type game was he was going to need to throw for like 350 yards and at least 3 to 4 touchdowns, right? And he would do that often enough that it was justified to do it. So what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about the kind of quarterback you're playing and how many guys do you need to stack with him and how much do those guys cost when it comes to salary. But one more point to that. Also, when I'm picking my stacks, I'm also very cognizant of the run backs I have. Sometimes I don't even need a running back, right? If I think the Eagles are going to blow out whoever the hell they're playing that week, 28-3, why the fuck would I want a run back? You don't always have to have a run back. Sometimes you can just run a little skinny Hurts and A.J. Brown. They both go. A.J. Brown catches 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts runs one in. They both get there. That's all you need. You don't need the other team that only had 190 yards of offense and didn't do shit. You don't need anybody from that team. So don't get into this rut of, I have to have a quarterback with 2 pass catchers and I have to have 2 run backs or at least 1 run back. I do think 1 run back is often a good thing because it pushes your stack to do better. But sometimes if you think the game's going to be a blowout, we always talk about narratives at Showdown, but do we ever talk about narratives whenever we're talking full week long? We don't do that enough. So if you think that your quarterback stack is going to be in a blowout, well then don't worry about the run back, right? And sure as shit, don't worry about running it back with 2 guys, okay? This is when you start thinking about the game a little bit different. This is how you improve your process and get to the point where you can become a sustainable player. You do it long enough, you will eventually hit a big one if you have a good process. All right. Hey, let's get to the stone and talk about the slate. But before we do, guys, if you don't have somebody's projections that you trust and you're not putting them into an optimizer and getting the best versions of your player pool, just tell me you hate yourself. Right? Just tell me you hate yourself. Right? You can go see right here. You go right here to Classic. Oh, look at that. All my projections already loaded in there, right? And you can have all my projections, my ownership, and the best optimizer out there called the Solver, and you can have it all for a ridiculous $24.99 a month, right? If you want all the sports, just $39.99 a month, because I also do projections for college football, PGA Showdown, NFL Showdown, everything, right? So if you want all of those, you want my projections, you just make sure when you sign up, you use that little Showdown, Hoedown symbol. I'm telling you, man, these optimizers, you don't realize how much you need them until you have them, right? And you're like, I only hand build 1 lineup every week. I get it. I do. There's some sports, I only hand build 1 college football lineup today. I could not do it without the optimizer helping me pick the most optimal version of my player pool to then build the best version of that lineup, right? So there you go. You're welcome. Let's get to the stone. This is the Rosetta Stone. This is what you get over at my site, dgen75.com. And what you want to know about it is this is the poor's version, okay? Because you're on YouTube, you're a poor, you don't spend any money, you get the fucking black and white version, and you like it, pal. You want the fancy, you want this one right here? You want the one that's all colored up and look, and it has little rain clouds. Oh my God, that's so cute. It has ownership, it has projections, it has optimizers, everything you need. It has all the projected stats for every single game. If they're a cash play, if they're a GPP play, high leverage, everything you need to know, the totals, the pace, the passing, everything you could ever want in one place to reference, right? Well, you want that one, you come over to DG75, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about this slate, and we will lead with the biggest game. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these games. I'm more here to answer your questions, but I will touch you up on some injuries, and I will touch you up on a couple strategies to consider, all right? So let's get going. Miami and Buffalo, the biggest total on the slate. And just like last week, this is a game that's really tough to fade, right? Last week we had the Chargers and Vikings, and that game definitely delivered. I told you last week there was 3 ways to play that game, and I told you the one way to not play it was to completely fade it. The key was to just play parts of that game. You didn't need to play it all, but you definitely needed to be in that game, right? I will tell you, this Buffalo-Miami game, I am not as convinced is a stone-cold shootout like last week was, right? And even if, don't even worry about the score. There was just so many yards last week and so much concentrated usage is why I'm calling a quote-unquote shootout, right? So this week with Miami, when they're not at home, I'm always a little bit cooler on them, just like the weather will be, right? And yes, I know that Miami has done okay in Buffalo, but I'm telling you, there's just no way they can be as efficient as they're being. Buffalo is really starting to trend since that opening week garbage game that they played. They have really been trending well, and we all know they're like a different team in Buffalo. Tua, look, I think the best thing I can tell you about Tua is they have a very, very good running game. Mostert and Achan are doing very good. Ahmed might be bad, but I don't think he's going to have much of a role. But I think the biggest news is Jalen Waddle is going to be back. And with Jalen Waddle being back, I'm almost for certain he will be the forgotten piece of this Miami offense this week. So if you want to come into this game and you don't want to stack it, but you're too scared to just completely fade it, maybe Jalen Waddle is the guy you go in and get here, right? River Craycraft is also out. So I think that makes just a little bit, I give a little bit of a bump to Braxton Berrios, even though he didn't really do shit last week, right? And then from there, Durham Smythe, do not forget flop lag from last week. There is a chance that people are going to forget about him, and this will be the week he gets his 6 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown, right? For Buffalo, Josh Allen is by far the most obvious play this week on this slate. If he doesn't get 20 points, I will be shocked, but you have to ask yourself this. Let's say that Josh Allen, I tell you the future right now, and I say Josh Allen's going to score 28 points tomorrow. You probably think, oh, well, I have to have that. There's no way I can not have a chalky Josh Allen getting 28 points. But really, it's not about what Josh Allen does tomorrow. His score doesn't really matter. It's what his score is relative to the other people you could have played. If he scores 28, but some $6,100 quarterback scores 26, well, then 28 is not very impressive because that extra $2,100 in value you have, you can now spend elsewhere to upgrade. So ask yourself, is Josh Allen going to be so much better than everybody else to justify that price tag that you have to play him? If the answer is yes, well, then you stack Josh Allen. Okay, if the answer is no, I could see other guys who could match him dollar for dollar or point per dollar, then I think that you could probably fade this and you will be right off the chalkiest stack. And right there, what you can do, if you decide you want to play Josh Allen, go check out James Cook. That guy is going to fall in the end zone eventually. In between the 20s, I am telling you, he is a top 3 running back in the NFL this year. He has looked great. He is involved in the passing game. He is efficient with his touches. He is good. Yes, I get Latavius Murray comes in every time they're on the goal line because for whatever reason, they think James Cook hasn't earned his touchdowns or what the hell ever. So that's just a really good leverage play. For the pass catchers, I really think there's only like 2, maybe 3 pass catchers. Dante Hardy, that was everybody's sweetheart to start the season, but he's only been on the field for 20% of snaps this season. So really, Diggs and Davis are the only 2 real wide receivers I'm considering for Buffalo. And then Kincaid, he hasn't been great this year. Let's face it. He has not been as good as everybody is hoping. People thought he would be a target machine up the seam, and that hasn't been the case so far. Maybe he will grow into that. Maybe this is the week he breaks out, but so far he hasn't been that guy. I think Dawson Knox is just a guy who's on the field as much, getting as many targets, and is a proven commodity. If you made me choose, I would probably choose Knox, but maybe the answer is play neither of them. All right, moving on. Carolina and Minnesota. I think the news here is, I think this is a sneaky shootout game, right? This is a sneaky shootout game. I know Bryce Young's back and he kind of sucks this year, but there is some big news to be monitoring for the Panthers. Miles Sanders is questionable. If Miles Sanders is out, I think Chuba Hubbard at 4,800 becomes a pretty good play, right? Because he has been fairly efficient with his touches this year, and in a script where Carolina could be behind or in a quote-unquote shootout, those are the kind of games that I think Chuba Hubbard is the most valuable. From there, Adam Thielen has been really good this year, which is hilarious because he sucks. And the other news that you want to know is Mingo is banged up. I think if he is out, Terrence Marshall and DJ Chark are the two that benefit the most. For Minnesota, look, they were in a shootout last week. They lost because they always lose. Cousins is a lot better in the dome. This game's going to be outside. And Justin Jefferson at $9,600. I'm just going to tell you, you better really like some punts because putting a $9,600 Justin Jefferson in your lineup really restricts what you can do. But maybe the play here is if you think Minnesota's going to be ahead, Alexander Mattison has been a true workhorse this year. Just look at the stats there. He's on the field 77% of snaps. They haven't been ahead in any game, so he hasn't even got that game where he gets his 20 rushes, right? Maybe he gets 100 yards, maybe gets a rushing touchdown. If they're going to be ahead in this game, he is due for one of those games that is an interesting narrative to consider. And weirdly enough, I don't even hate Madison and Hubbard in the same lineup because Hubbard could do well in a script in which the Panthers are playing from behind and trying to get caught up, and he gets 7 catches. And Madison is playing in a script where he is ahead and they're just running the shit out of him and he falls in the box eventually. Denver and Chicago, look, I have a theory that terrible teams sometimes accidentally shoot out. We've already seen it with the Broncos once this year. Them and the Commanders had quite the shootout earlier this year, and they both suck, right? So maybe these two teams are just so bad they'll accidentally shoot out. But here's where I'm at. Like, Denver has a bunch of solid pieces, but they got a terrible quarterback, and it makes almost all of them unplayable. I would love to play Javonte, but you can see he hasn't even been on the field for 50% of the snaps this year, and I'm not wild about paying $5,500 for a guy that probably is capped at 15 touches. On the flip side, I just believe that Justin Fields has one big week in him this year, right? Or maybe 2 or 3. And Justin Fields and DJ Moore are going to have one big week. Is this the week? I doubt it, but it's going to happen once, so at least I need to consider it. The running back situation, I see more and more people hyping up Roschon Johnson. Be careful. Roschon Johnson has got most of his work in games in which Chicago was behind. If you think this game is going to be competitive and Chicago is going to be in it, I do think Khalil Herbert is still the lead back and will get more touches. Baltimore, Cleveland, I think we need to lead with the injuries here. Deshaun Watson's banked up. David Njoku, burned his arm off or some shit like that last night. I don't know what happened. And Justice Hill is hurt too. So there is a bunch of injury news we need to be watching in this one. I think Baltimore playing at Cleveland, not great, right? That's just not a great environment to go into and score a lot of fantasy points. Lamar Jackson can always break a slate. Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews are definitively his top 2 targets. But this is a game I like to stay away from. The biggest thing I've been doing this year that I've been enjoying about tweaking my process is when I see gross games, at most, I go get a one-off piece from it. At most, that's all I do. And I largely just stay away from them. I think Jerome Ford is fool's gold. I said he was fool's gold last week. He got 19 points, but a lot of that's because he was running out there. He's out wide running fucking sluggos. What are we doing? What are we doing, Browns? Just luck sacking in there. I will say, if you made me play somebody, I would probably play Amari Cooper. He is really becoming a usage monster, but if Deshaun Watson's out, I think even, or is limited, I think even Amari Cooper is a big downgrade. Pittsburgh and Houston. Pittsburgh's been bad this year. Way worse than everybody expected. And Houston, quite the opposite, has been way better than everybody thought they would be this year. Look, Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett, I can't do it. I got to see it before I do it, right? Najee is just straight garbage. And I like Jaylen Warren in Showdown, but I would never play him on main slate. There's just too many other good running backs for me to try to get cute and nail a guy who's only going to get 11 touches. Wide receiver George Pickens is nice. He's always on the field. He's getting 7 targets a game, and he does have a very high ADOT, average depth of target. However, I think Calvin Austin might be the play this week. If you're going to need some salary relief, I think he is a sneaky guy that could get 7 or 8 targets, which could equal 6 or 7 catches, throw in 60 yards. Hopefully he gets you a touchdown. If he does that at 3,300, your ass be dancing in the streets naked, all right? For Houston, they're starting to get priced up a little bit, right? They're no longer the free squares. Tank Dell's no longer the free square $3,400 guy. $4,600 is not a free square. Nico at 51 and Stroud at 56. Yes, it's still a cheap stack, but this just doesn't strike me as a great scoring environment. Plus, weirdly enough, I think Houston is going to probably be like the 5th or 6th most popular stack. The day that I play a relatively chalky Houston stack, you may have one kick on my nutsack. The Rams and the Colts, this is just a game. There's 3 games I like this week, and this is one of them, right? You see the 46-point total. That doesn't blow your hair back. You see it's an even spread. You should like that because that probably means it's going to be a competitive environment. But here's what I'll tell you. Both of these teams have very concentrated usage, and both of these teams can sneaky shoot out. And, oh, yeah, it's in a dome, right? Matthew Stafford has been a lot better this year than we were anticipating, and he basically only throws the ball to Puka and Atwell. That's it. And Higbee is banged up. If he's out, he's really only going to throw to 2 guys. Kieran Williams just never leaves the field. He legit is playing like 80 to 90% of plays for the Rams. And anytime you can get a running back like that, if this game does end up being 28-27, he is very likely to have a good game. On the flip side, Anthony Richardson, don't forget 2 weeks ago, he was about to break the slate before he fell and cracked his dome and got a concussion, right? So, he's just been so much better than I thought he would be. And maybe it's just a flash in the pan. Maybe I'm overreacting to the week and a half that we saw of him, but I've been pretty impressed. Zach Moss, you're probably thinking, oh, guys, Zach Moss, he ain't going to do it. Hey, Jonathan Taylor ain't back yet, motherfather. Zach Moss has looked good this year, and if you think this game is going to be up pace, I think Zach Moss is another guy that could be looking in that 20-point range. He has been really good this year. The best thing I can tell you about Indianapolis is, like I was telling you earlier with quarterbacks, you only got a single stack. You can skinny stack Richardson, right? He probably isn't going to get 2 pass catchers there. So Pittman, Downs, and Granson are probably the 3 best passing options that I would want to stack with him. And 2 of those guys are dirt cheap, and they allow you to play a stack that is cheap and then go get some expensive pieces in other games. That's what's appealing to me. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, I mean, this is just another one of those games I kind of want to stay away from. Derek Carr is questionable. If Derek Carr plays, I like this game less. If Jameis Winston plays, I like this game more because Jameis Winston will throw a pick 6 and then go throw for 350 yards. On that same note, if Jameis Winston is starting, I love Chris Olave. I think he is so much better. I think Jameis is going to give him 15 targets, and they're going to be downfield targets. So Derek Carr playing actually makes me less interested in the Saints. I would rather have Jameis Winston because Jameis Winston is not afraid to throw the ball into tight windows. For the Tampa Bay side, I've been trying to tell you guys this for weeks. No one loves Baker Mayfield more than me. The guy is not a fantasy quarterback. I know he had a couple solid weeks at 5,100, but if you keep going back to that well, you are going to be disappointed. They are a conservative team running a conservative offense, and he is not a guy that is ever going to break the slate for you, especially with an 18-point total at New Orleans, where they tend to play pretty good defense. The one positive thing I could say is Evans, Godwin, and Rachaad White seem to be the focal points of the offense. They are gathering most of the usage. They are on the field most of the game, so there is some value in that. Moving on, Washington and the Eagles. Let's face it, the Commanders suck, right? I think they're fighting hard for the Caleb Williams sweepstake to have the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. And Brian Robinson has been serviceable this year, which his stats are not upgrading. Probably that junior on there. But the wide receivers, McLaurin, Dotson, these guys that people were sneaky high on before the season have not done garbage, right? Logan Thomas does appear to be back this week, but we got to wonder how much is he going to be limited? Oh, yeah, and they're playing one of the 3 best teams in the NFL, the Eagles, who we all know is going to beat the brakes off of them. A Jalen Hurts stack is always nice, but as we said earlier, it can get very expensive and really limit what you can do. Plus, you never know who Jalen Hurts is always going to throw to, right? A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are both good options. I would never play them together, but I think individually, Philadelphia could score 28 points, and one of those guys could get there. But the real question to me is what's going on with this backfield. I was for sure Gainwell would come back and be the leader of the backfield, but when he did, it still seemed like it was DeAndre Swift's backfield. And the guy is just efficient as shit. I don't get why he's so efficient, but he is. So if they're going to be in a script where they're ahead, if DeAndre Swift is going to continue to get 60% of the workload, I think you have to consider him at 5,700, which is so weird for me to say. Cincinnati and Tennessee. Cincinnati still sucks. They have not shown any real ability. Yes, they won a game, but fantasy-wise, they still suck balls. They got the big 3 receivers, and Higgins seems like the one that's due now. They really made a point to get Chase involved after he wasn't involved. So maybe after Higgins wasn't involved last week, this is the week where he gets involved. If you're a narrative kind of guy, Irv Smith is out. So I guess if you want to punt tight end, play Tanner Hudson. But I'm telling you, if you're going to play a punt tight end, at least correlate him to your quarterback or make it a run back or something. Don't just go play naked Tanner Hudson. For Tennessee, look, if there's ever a time, if there's a wise man, John Gold JD once told me, when nobody plays Derrick Henry, you play Derrick Henry. Well, let me go ahead and tell you, new guy, ain't nobody playing Derrick Henry this week, so I'm kind of interested, right? Tennessee is at home. Tennessee, if they're going to be competitive in this game, they're going to win. It will be on the back of Derrick Henry. Is this the week he finally gets that 120 yards and 2 touchdowns? I doubt it. I fucking doubt it, but he could. And if I'm going to get him at 2% ownership, that makes me a little more interested, right? Although it is kind of hard to just pay $7,000 on him when I could just go find like another 800 and get like Tony Pollard or something, right? That's the biggest problem with him. All right, we only have 3 afternoon games. The first one is one of my other 3 games that I love. By the way, the 3 games I love are this one, that Rams and Colts game, and of course the first game, Miami and Buffalo. I'm so brave that I love the highest total game. I know. Quit clapping for me, guys. It's getting weird. So we've got the Raiders and we've got the Chargers. It does appear as though Jimmy Garoppolo is out. Now, the weird thing is we don't actually know who's going to start for them yet, right? I'm assuming, you can see on the stone here, I'm assuming it's going to be Brian Hoyer, but I do not know that for sure, right? I think that if you want to come up with a weird narrative, this game could shoot out. Maybe Brian Hoyer coming in is exactly what the Raiders need. They still have Josh Jacobs. They still have Devontae Adams. They still have Jacoby Myers. They have real weapons, and we know the Chargers are very suspect on defense. And the best part is the Chargers are fast. They're fast. They play. They throw the ball down the field. They're aggressive. Justin Herbert is a great play this week. I think Eckler is still out, so no one's going to want to play Joshua Kelly after being burnt by him 2 weeks in a row, but maybe this is the week he gets it done. But a guy like Keenan Allen seems as safe as a human could possibly be. If he gets less than 12 targets, I would be shocked. The real question is who fills that void with Mike Williams being gone for the year. The obvious answer is Joshua Palmer, right? He's always been their third wide receiver, and now he might move up to second. But I think the sneakier choice here is Quentin Johnston, the rookie out of TCU. He's an absolute punt, but I really like him with Justin Herbert stacks, or maybe as a sneaky correlation play with somebody from the Raiders. New England and Dallas, let me just go ahead and tell you the long story about New England. They fucking suck. All right, even my boy Ramondre, who I love, they just are not good. They are not good, and they're just going to be so vanilla and Manila's the country. I always do that. So I look. You want to know who I'm playing from the Patriots? Nobody. Same person I'm playing from them every week. But Dallas, on the other hand, talk about laying an egg last week against Arizona. I have to think that they are going to bounce back and bounce back big. They always are good at home. This just strikes me as a game where they score 34, 35, 38 points, something ridiculous like that. And in a game like that, I think you got to consider a Dak stack. But of course, you have to consider Pollard and CeeDee Lamb, right? One of those guys, I said this last week and I was dick wrong. I said one of those guys is definitely going to have a 30 burger. I guarantee you one of those guys is going to have a 30 burger this week, right? Or I'll be wrong 2 weeks in a row. I don't know. Don't listen to my fucking picks. Okay, we're going to end with Arizona and San Francisco. Arizona, sneaky good. Are sneaky better than I thought they'd be this year. Still terrible, and they are going to get absolutely killed by the 49ers. The 49ers, let's just put them in for 28. We know they're going to score 28 points minimum, and if that's the case, well, then that makes us pretty interesting to play, right? I think the biggest news is we're watching Debo. Debo is currently questionable. If Debo is out, I really like the 49ers because that's a lot of usage that has to get spread around. Debo is a focal point of that offense. That probably means a couple more touches for McCaffrey. It probably means a couple more catches for Ayuk. It probably means a couple more catches for Kittle. Hell, it could even mean more Elijah Mitchell, right, who is also questionable. So I'm really watching that. If I get word that Debo's going to be out tomorrow, that really makes me much more interested in a very expensive McCaffrey or a George Kittle. Problem is, we probably won't get word, so you're going to have a plan in place in your flex to be able to get Debo, or to be able to get to a guy if Debo is, of course, out. All right, let's get to the drawing, but before we do, come check out my site, djn75.com. I promise you won't regret it. We focus on three things. I focus on helping you get better through process and not with picks. We are about the community. We celebrate our community's wins, not my fucking wins, even though I might win the PGA win tomorrow. You won't see me fucking chirping it on Twitter because I don't want you to fucking follow me if you're only following me because I win. That's what losers do. And I have the best tool that you could possibly have called the Rosetta Stone. I do it for all my sports. It is there to make hours and hours of work relatable to you and functional so that you can have a good process and not spend 60 hours a week on it like I do. You want projections? I got it. You want ownership? I got it. You want leverage? I got it. You want targets? I got it. You want to know what a cash play is versus a GPP play? I got it. You want to see the projections? I got it. Everything you need right there, okay? Even got the weather. Look at that little cloud. It's raining. Oh, it's so cute. All right, and if you're like, hey, I want to try out your site, but I'm a little reluctant, just go sign up for my newsletter. The link is in the description of this. Sign up for the newsletter. Let @thedgen editor on Twitter know, and he just DM him, and he will give you a free week over on the site, okay? Cool. Let's get to the drawing. These are from my people over on the Twitters who retweeted. Always retweet this show every Friday night or Saturday during the day, and you'll be on this wheel, and we will build a Millionaire Maker ticket, and I will split the profits with you. The winner is Royals Chief. That guy runs so pure. That motherfather runs so pure. By the way, we're up to 100 likes. I'll make you a deal. I said 75, so let's do one drawing now, editor. One drawing now, and when we get to 125, we'll do another one. We'll do another one at 50, all right? We'll do another one at 125. So get me up to 125 likes. I'll do it. Let's see here. Editor, draw a name, you motherfather. Yeah, you're in there anyways, Joanne. You asked the question before the editor drew, so you're still in there. Editor on a big delay. I'm going to get a drink of water while he draws. Jason Hubble. There you go. Hey, the satellite. Jason, you're the satellite. Let's go. Hey, you know what? I hope you can see into the future and tell me who the picks for tomorrow are, you old satellite you. All right, does the solver do late swap? Great question, Dean. That's a really good question to which I don't know the answer on, right? I always just have a plan in place, so I've never actually thought to use that. That's a really great question, brother. I need to ask that. Editor or somebody that doesn't do that, I don't even know. All right, let's get to some questions, and then the big guy has got to go watch his Sooners. Let's get to 125 likes. Okay. Hey, Jason, you said OU's looking good, and then you win the title. I'm just saying, can't be a coincidence that Jason says OU's looking good, and then he wins the drawing. Tell me this shit ain't rigged. Tell me this shit ain't rigged. All right, here we go. Dominic says, DJ Lord, do you think that there's a value in max entering showdown slates or playing single entry or 3-max in the main? Yeah, I always just like single entry and 3-maxes just because I really like how ownership really pools on single entries and 3-maxes. And so on the main slate, I almost exclusively play single entries and 3-maxes and 1 10-max, right? And the reason I do that is because if somebody's going to be chalky in the Big Millionaire Maker, they're going to be real chalky in those contests. And if I'm playing, a low-owned stack, well, they're going to be real low-owned in that one. That's why I like to do it. Can you explain a run back? Sure. A run back is just, all right, so I want to run a Josh Dobbs, Marquise Brown, and Zach Ertz stack. I don't know why the fuck you're doing that, right? But let's say that's your stack. A run back would just be somebody from the other team. Because if a game's going to shoot out, you're going to need guys from both teams scoring. So then you run it back with Christian McCaffrey, right? That's all it is. Because it's correlation, right? Correlation isn't just your quarterback throwing to your wide receiver. Correlation can be if this team scores a lot of points, it's probably because this team that they're playing is also scoring a lot of points. Make sense? Would you downgrade Adams and Meyer with no Jimmy G? Mike, I've thought a lot about that because those are some guys I wanted some access to, right? If I like that game, I want to get some Devontae and some Myers in my player pool. And it would seem as though Jimmy G being out would hurt them, but I'm not convinced that Brian Hoyer is that big of a downgrade in just total passing, right? I mean, he might be not as good of a quarterback, but I think he can pass and get the targets and crank the ball down the field just as well as Jimmy G can. So I'm leaning towards no, that does not affect me, right? It's weird. I've thought a lot about that. It's a really good question. Jason with a hell of a last name. Is this week Jalen Warren passes Najee on the depth chart? It really feels that way. We basically have them. I don't have my projections up here, but in our projections, they're almost dead even, right? Almost dead even, which is pretty ballsy for projections. So we at djn75.com say that we are feeling like it is, if it's not going to happen this week, it happened real soon. Jarvis, we got some new names in here, you mother fathers. What game do you think will be a sneaky nut game? I already told you. I think it'll be the Rams and the Colts. That's just, I'm wrong all the time, though. So don't come back and be like, but you were wrong. Mother father, I'm wrong all the time, dude. Is there anything in the settings you've gravitated towards that may not have been so intuitive? Well, if you're talking about the solver, I can't really think of anything that I've started doing that I didn't think of. Maybe limiting the number of players from a team. Oh, docking points. Sometimes if this guy does well, then dock this guy this many points, right? Because they kind of step on each other's dicks sometimes. Not all guys are nicely correlated. What do you think about cheap Jameis and Olave? I don't mind it at all. You never have to sell me on a Jameis stack. You just got to worry about Taysom Hill coming in and maybe pilfering a touchdown from him with the run game. That would be my only concern, Cooper. But other than that, you ain't got to sell me on Olave or Jameis. Jameis don't mind getting you 8 points, and they don't mind getting you 32. Who wins in a fight, Rory or Joe LaCava? Joe LaCava would tear that motherfather up. Is Wilson's stack going to be popular this week? Wait, Russell Wilson or wait, Zach Wilson's not even on the slate, right? So I assume you're talking Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson's stack is popular, then I know nothing. I would be shocked, Hubble. By the way, reach out to me on Twitter, or if you're over on the Discord, just reach out to me over there. We can build tonight, okay? Are you ready to win 20K tomorrow, big guy? Does a bear shit in the woods, you motherfather? Yep, 3,000 last week. Thanks to DJ. My dude, Sprite Soda. I hope you got over on the Discord. The editor told me he was trying to help you out. I hope you got over there. We'll get you taken care of. We got good customer service. We're small enough to value every customer, big enough to not care about the fucking haters. It's a magical place to be. Denver stack for all the money. No one's gonna play it. No one's gonna play it. The problem is, I assume you're gonna go Judy and Sutton, but Mims could catch a big one and then screw that all up for you. Roshan or Herbert versus the Broncos? Well, if you think it's going to be a blowout, I kind of like Herbert more. If you think it's going to be a competitive game down to the end, I think I like Herbert more. Roshan if it's a blowout, Herbert if it's close. What do you make of Mostert and the chain being so low owned? Bills play heavy run. Yeah, I think they're fine. The only problem is it does seem like almost a true 50-50. I think it'll probably be about 60% Mostert and about 40% of Chan. But they are really good leverage plays to get in there, right? But I just don't see a script in which the Dolphins are ahead. I really think the Bills are good at home and they're going to beat their ass. But once again, that's my narrative. And once again, I'm fucking wrong all the time. Which Broncos wide receivers and which Broncos wide receivers versus Bears? If you made me choose a Broncos wide receiver, I'm probably still going to go Cortland Sutton. I'm just not convinced that Jerry Jeudy's back to 100% yet. And I get a $1,300 discount. I'm not lining up to play a $6,600 Jerry Jeudy. Polly, tell him. Oh, Polly ain't here. Very sad. Guy in the back. Where the hell's guy in the back? Fuck did he get? I don't know. I don't know where he's. Get the hell out of there. He's hiding down there. Embarrassing. All right. O'Connell or Hoyer or neither? Neither. I mean, Hoyer would be my choice, but if neither's an option, I'd rather go that one. Are you fading a cheap Charger receiver, especially with the news that Jimmy G is out? No, I don't think so. I think the Chargers are so slapdick that they're going to need to play aggressively no matter what the score is, right? So that's my they don't have Austin Eckler to lean on either, and I don't think Josh Kelly can run out a game by being effective between the tackles. Hey, let's get up to 125 likes. I see 115. I'd like to do another drawing before we get out of here. I got dinner cooking. The fat kid can smell it. Got fifth at college football today. Love it. All about the stone. Hey, I'm telling you, college football stones the nuts. Why people don't play college football cash, I'll never understand. It's like, oh, that's new, and I don't want to learn nothing new, even if it's going to win you money. I never win at DFS. All right, well, you can win at this sport if you just let me teach you. No, no, I'd rather just lose and bitch about it. Okay, then you do you, boo. Are you ready to stack the Texans? No, I can't do it 2 weeks in a row, bro. Will a healthy AR-15 hurt Zach Moss usage? I don't think so. I don't. I think that it actually weirdly helps Zach Moss, right? Yes, he might take a little bit of the rushing yards away from Zach Moss, but I also think that it's going to make the defense have to respect the quarterback actually keeping it. And when that happens, I think that's going to open up bigger holes for Zach Moss to hit and maybe get that 100 yards rushing or something like that, right? You think Stafford double stack is viable? I do, because and the best part is his two guys that double stack are really fucking obvious, right? It's Puka and Atwell, especially if Higbee's out. Now, if Higbee plays, you might want to mix and match those. But yes, the problem with Stafford doesn't have a huge ceiling, but I could see him getting to 23 points, and at that price tag, that could still be good enough to win you a GPP. There's no way he's ever going to get a 30-point game. Is stacking games still important in cash, or just maximize your projected points regardless of correlation? No, I don't mind a little correlation in my NFL cash lineups, but I just look at every player individually, and I think a great place to start is to look at their points per dollar. Like, how many points are they projected per dollar to get me? And then from there, the next thing I really like to look at is game environment, right? I don't want guys in my cash lineup that are going to be in a fucking slog fest, right? So, for instance, this week I think the Browns and the Ravens is going to be a slog game. Well, nobody in my cash lineup is going to be from that game, right? Seems like a lot of people are talking about cheap quarterbacks. How are you feeling about paying up to be contrarian? Well, first of all, as long as you pay up and it's not Josh Allen, because I promise you, Josh Allen going to be popular. I never mind cheap quarterbacks. If you look at most of the stacks I've ran this year, which I do every week on my retrospective, telling all my members how I did, because transparency, I don't win every week, and anybody who does tell you that they win every week, you fucking run from them, okay? So I do it every week, and I have been leaning heavily on my cheap stacks. I really like cheap stacks because it allows me to go get those expensive pieces from the chalky games, but play them differently than everybody else's. And to me, that's how I like to be successful. Only need 4 more likes to get another drawing. Dalton, sneaky stack for GPPs? I mean, yeah, I don't think he's going to throw 58 times again, and throwing 58 times, he still only managed like what? I guess he got 32 points. That's pretty good. Who's your favorite player? 3.9K and below. Probably Palmer, right? Palmer's, what is Palmer? Is he 4,000? Let's see. I don't even know what Palmer's price is. Palmer's 4,000. Fuck, then I guess Quentin Johnson, okay? Because I don't want to go look up another one. The solver is very good. I have all kinds of video sprite on how to do it and to use it and it not be so intimidating, right? We were all olds. I'm an old too. Right here in my soul, I'm 157 years old, and I don't like technology. I just told the kid to get the fuck off my front yard. Did I need a cuss at a 6-year-old? Probably not, but I didn't want him on my yard. All right. Let's see. Do you have a team or game planning to cross out completely? Yeah, there's a lot of games I'm just not playing, right? Something I'm really doing, Higabanu, is, I'm only going to run probably 20 to 24 lineups, somewhere in that range tomorrow. And so right there off the bat, I want to have a very tight player pool. I'm probably only going to run 1 or 2 stacks, and I'm going to have 3 or 4 games I just completely mark out. I'm going to have no access to them, right? And somebody from those teams from that game might do well, right? I get it, right? But at the same time, I kind of got to make choices. I don't want to spread myself thin. If you ever see me win, you'll probably see me have a whole bunch of lineups in the cash, and then hopefully one manages to be way up there, right? That's the key. You'll never see me like with all my lineups kind of spread across the thing, because they're all so similar that if one does well, they all seem to kind of do well, right? Let's see. Moving on. If O'Connell plays for Las Vegas, can they push the Chargers? I mean, maybe. I don't know if I love a rookie in that spot, but maybe. Editor, one more like. I want to see a drawing. Damn, we got 180 people in here. Thanks for being here on a Saturday night, you motherfathers. Is there a specific number of games you like to target, or is it about the players? Is there a specific number of games? No, it's just about, I don't go into it saying I'm only playing these 4 games. Like this week, I was open to liking 5 games, 8 games, and I found that I only really liked 3 games that I wanted to get access to, right? Looking for, all right, editor, draw it. Oh, wow, what a name. Irakli Grijavili. What a name! Name of the night for this person. I don't even want to say guy because I'm not sure that's not a lady's name. It's probably a man's name. I'm not trying to do you any disrespect. I just don't want to call you a dude when you're a lady. Is the Rosetta Stone and the solver with your projections part of the same deal, or yeah, that's a great question, dude. Great question. You should reach out to me. I'll give you 2 free weeks on the site with your great questions. So the solver is separate right now. If you just want my projections, you can just go get the solver using my landing page, and it will get you my projections and my ownership automatically loaded up into there. But if you want my projections and want to be able to use the stone, those are 2 different things. Me and the solver are 2 different things. We're just partnering together, right? It's a very great question. Reach out to the editor and you say the person with the cool name from the stream, big guy said I could have 2 free weeks. On me, you motherfather. Can I win $1 million make your ticket this week? If you would win the drawing, you could, you motherfather. All right, editor, you drew that drawing for me. Let's see. Jarvis Elder. He's not young. I hope he's an old man. I hope you're 87 years old and you can barely work a phone, Elder. Okay, let's see here. What do we got? Oh, hey, right there. You have the next question up. Who is your favorite sneaky stack that could break the slate? I'll tell you when you DM me to make our lineup, you motherfather. Okay, let's see. Do you believe in the Lions yet? Yes, I do. I do. They're pretty good. They are really good. Justin Fields in the nude have some GPP upside. I don't hate it, but I do think that if he has a big game, I just feel like DJ Moore is going to come along with him. That would be the one guy. You could run some naked Justin Fields, but at least do some of them with DJ Moore just to humor me, okay? All right. Shaheed season with gunslinging Winston. Don't hate it. Don't hate it. One catch, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Still a pretty damn good game. Let's see here. Jason Kim, is bringing it back with a wide receiver and a running back a good idea or throwing away money? I don't usually love the double run back in NFL, Jason. Okay, the reason why is when you do a double run back, so let's say you have a quarterback and his 2 receivers. So you already got 3 guys from this team, and now you want to run it back with the running back and wide receiver from this team. You now have 5 guys from one game on a 12-game slate. That game better shoot the fuck out for you to have any chance. So I rarely ever do the 5-person build unless I absolutely love a game or the usage is just crazy concentrated in that game. So I don't love it. And if I am, I don't love running it back with a wide receiver and a running back because those 2 kind of contradict each other, right? Kevin says, been going way heavy on receiver, bug guys like Adams, Allen, Hill, Chase, way too chalky 3-max. Of course, I have to take a punt, or it could. I have to take a punt, but it won't work. Or it could. That's right. Or it could. It doesn't work until it does. That's what a wise man once told me. Tommy said, if no card, Jameis with Olave stack? Yeah, I'm telling you. Olave. Give me all the Olave. Okay, versus LA Rams, or does Richardson nerf his value? No, I think he increases his value, weirdly enough. Kevin says, big guy iPhone issues. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Figure it out, Bob. Favorite Bungles, $2,500 tight end? Not a chance. I'm playing that naked tight end from the Bengals. Not in that game environment. Is Dallas Goedert enough to stack with Hurts? Yes. Dallas Goedert could catch, I'll just keep going back to the 6 catches, 60 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He could definitely be that guy, right? And his targets are going up. You can see them making a point to get him more involved. Think Cam Akers comes in charging? I don't. I don't think Cam Akers can charge. I think it's time to put him out to the acres. Am I right? Okay. So moving on. Bengals stack run Hopkins back. That will be super low owned. I will give you that. That will be super low owned. I don't love it, but it will be low owned. Do you stack and tiers, like 2 receivers or a running back? Do you stack and tiers? Do I stack in tiers? When I play tiers, I do stack, but I just never really get the tiers. Other than whenever I play, whenever I play Najee Harris, then I'm always playing in tiers because I'm very sad that I played him. I'm kidding. I'd never play that loser piece of shit. Too cute to go Richardson solo and running it back with Kieran or Nakua. Maybe a little cute, but I could see a path to it happening, right? He throws 2 touchdowns to, 1 to nobody body and another one to a backup tight end. His fullback, his backup tight end. He runs 2 in. He's probably a nut play. You're going to need him. And it wouldn't have made sense to stack him. I don't think that's very likely, but I could see it happening. Anthony says, crazy stacking Thielen and Young with Madison run back? No, I think that makes sense. Bryce Young's look like crap. And let me just go ahead and tell you something. If CJ Stroud can do well, Bryce Young can do well, okay? Which chalk cheapie is most likely to fail? Josh Palmer, because I'm playing him. How low do we go on defense? Boy, that is a great question. I haven't even looked. Let's go see. Do I have my contest up? Let's see. Defenses. Who is the cheap defenses? What is a cheap defense I'm willing to play this week? I'd be down to play Carolina. I'd play Carolina. I'd definitely play Chicago. I'd play Buffalo. So there's like 3 right there under 2,700, right? Defense is such a fucking shit show. I'm on the Father Nation. Cheap quarterback plus only 1 pass catcher from the same team. Expensive pieces. Yeah, that's one of my favorite builds. Let's see. Moving on. Answering questions. Condensed on a 20 max or spread it out? I think you always want to be condensed, man. You're only going to have a couple weeks a year where shit goes your way. You want to have the most bullets in that gun to help you win a GPP when that does happen, bro. Cephas. You understand what I'm saying? Elijah Moore is a cheap guy. I don't love that game environment, Mr. Fedor. So probably not for me, but I can see it. No cold brew tonight. If I drink cold brew right now, I wouldn't get any sleep. And I'm trying to wake up early and see if my ass wins the main fucking Ryder Cup tomorrow. I got like 6 lineups in the top 150. I nutted that thing. Now, tomorrow we'll probably run unpure as fuck because 2023 has not been the Sunday for the big guy this year. But you know what? I don't mind having all them lineups up there. One day I am going to run pure. And I'm still not going to tweet it. I'm still not going to tweet it because I'm not a loser. Okay, there you go. That's it, guys. This has been a great show. I appreciate all of you coming and hanging out with me on Saturday night. I'm telling you, go try out my website. You will not regret it. If you want to try it out and you're wanting to be a poor about it, well, just sign up for the newsletter. I'll give you a free week, and then you'll be hooked. Don't forget, me and Tambo will be back Tuesday on my station doing the Week 5 preview. Go check out his show. I would tell you what it is, but I think he does 9,000 shows a week. Is it, Tambo, is it 9,300 shows a week. Tambo just confirmed it right over. He's sitting right over here off today. He's hanging out my house this week. It's weird. We're friends like that, though. All right, guys, I think that does it. Remember, no Vegas trip. The Vegas trip has been rescheduled to February. Waste management is the tentative plan. Woo! I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoy this outro. You mother fathers.